Welcome to Field Service in 2021. My name's Jason Almeida. I work for Hitachi Solutions, Twitter, and LinkedIn if you fancy taking a photo. So today's session, because we've only got 20 minutes, and I said I'm going to cover field service over the last year, I'm literally on. I know it's brave, right? I'm only really picking two things. I'm talking about two others because I want to show you stuff as well. So what I'm going to be looking at is scheduling, because there's a lot happening there, and customer-facing portals as well, because again, it's another big space that Dynamics has been, or Microsoft have been putting some investment in there as well. So the aim here is hopefully you've got some field service experience. If not, just find me off the session. We can happily have a chat. And yeah, demo. So demo gods, let's keep our fingers crossed. Thank you to our sponsors as well. You know, without them, the actual event would not have been possible. So they made all of this first in-person event, you know, a reality. Before I actually go into it, I had like an exchange recently, and I thought, you know what, to make a good example to put some context around it. So a good experience versus a not so good experience in field service. So the first one was I recently moved, and PlusNet were going to sort out my internet. And they're like, oh, we'll send you a message, here are the time slots. I said, oh, can I have this time slot? I'm like, oh, sorry, this time slot's gone. And that went on back and forth. And eventually I got it sorted, but the guy came around, no idea what he was doing, and it was a mess. On the other hand, when I had to go place an order, and they said, oh, we're going to deliver something, DPD on the other hand, when your package is ready for delivery, they send you a message, you pick your time slot. When it's confirmed, they tell you what time you're arriving. You can press a button to see whether the agent, the delivery guys as well, and rescheduler as well. It's absolutely fabulous. And that's kind of the end state where we want to end to, and field service is kind of ticking most of those boxes to get there eventually. So let's start with scheduling. So the first big thing in scheduling is that we've all seen that new schedule board, but now as part of Wave 2, it is officially getting to feature parity. What's really useful is if you take a photo of that QR code, it is Microsoft Docs page of the comparison between when you should use the old versus the new schedule board. And if you look at it now, everything is Wave 2 2021. So once all of this deployment is done, you're effectively at feature parity, along with some new features coming out as well. There is a lot of features, and I've made a list, so I'm going to list them out when we actually jump into the demo. The second feature we're talking about, and this one, I was on a project when they deprecated this, which was customers said, oh, can we see all of our resource bookings in Outlook? And we're like, yeah, you can. And then 2 weeks later, they announced they were deprecating it. And I think that was like a couple years ago. Oh, shit. Eventually, we managed to make it work. But now they've kind of brought that feature back in an inverse way, where you effectively can, if you've got an Outlook appointment, you can sync that to Dynamics, and you can show it on the schedule board, which, you know, you still have to track it, and we'll see that as well. But it gives you, you know, effectively a good view if your technician or your agent's got like daily stand-ups, end of day calls, handles, things like that. Those are all sectioned out as well. And finally, there's, I think when Wave 1 came out, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there was mapping in Wave 1, or at least it wasn't there at the end of last year when we did a deployment. But now they've actually brought through the mapping capabilities, along with some few feature improvements, which I don't think I've seen on the old schedule board as well. So we'll take a look at that. Now, those are the three things at a high level. I just want to like jump straight in and let's have a look at some of this in action. Right, so there we go. Right, oh God, that's massive. Can I zoom up? Oh, technical difficulties. Bear with me, guys.
Control minus, can't you?
Yeah. Liverpool. There you go. Okay. So right. So the feature parity stuff, because there's a lot. First of all of the important settings that you normally expected in the schedule board are now available. So you've got, I think the ledger's always been there. Details panel was new. So you click on that and you select an item, it'll show you your details panel. It's got your booking alert, it's got your map button which is open, it's got your settings as well, so board settings that wasn't available as well. And all of the previous configuration that you expected is available here as well. The other thing is on the old schedule board you could add custom panels. So if you're looking at references and things like that, you can still add that in here as an add-on. So you basically have to just configure a web resource and then add it as a tab there as well. You've got your immersive view and refresh as well, although your every 60-second refresh still takes hold, but you can always manually do it. Surprisingly, version 1 didn't actually have days and weeks and months view, but it is now available, as well as the Gantt mode or list mode as well. So I think that's, let me see if there's anything else I missed on my list. Oh, tooltips was new as well. That wasn't available, I think, when Schedule Board got released, and I think that only came out after Wave 1 got announced, or released, shall I say. And finally, if I just close this and hide away the map. The other one as well is on the old Schedule Board, I don't know if you guys ever faced this, but it was a nightmare to drag and drop things. Whereas on this one now, when you do that, it actually shows you where you're going to drop it. It's small, but it is really, really good. And the last one actually is also in Wave 2, 2021, find availability. That wasn't available as well, and that's only just come out. So I know it's the most important thing that everyone presses something and presses find availability, and it wasn't available.
Yeah,
so
just a quick one on that one. It's there in the old schedule board still.
Yeah. So all of this is still available on the old schedule board, but the new one is effectively Microsoft's uplift of the old, because the old one I think was based in Silverlight and it looked like ugly as well. Whereas this one is more keeping with the look and feel, it's more performant, it's WCAG compliant as well in terms of accessibility. It is no longer where you hover and it shows something, or sometimes it doesn't show something. Now if you want to do something, you just right click on the thing and then you do it, because that's how accessibility.
That was left click to get the find availability.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, even resource card wasn't available. I think that's part of Wave 1. That's come out in I think at least during the summer or as part of Wave 2. I lose track because they announce it and then they drip feed it as time goes on. Yes, yeah. So quite a few features there just on the basic schedule board capabilities. Now, just going over to the mapping piece.
Do we still get time of request on the schedule boards or not?
Oh, good question. I don't know, but I'll check.
I was creating a table for it.
Yeah.
I don't usually build one.
The way we've done it on previous projects is just create a custom entity, call it time off, and then make it schedule.
Enable it for your
Yeah. I can't remember if I've ever used the time off request. Oh no, that's yes, that's what it is. No, when you request it and you mark it as approved or do auto approval, it makes it grayed out. It doesn't show up as a booking, which customers never like anyways. So yeah, that I think we've always gone custom in those scenarios. Right, map view. So hey, good old Southampton there. So that's now finally up to feature parity, as I mentioned. The really handy thing that I don't think is available on the previous one is when you click on get driving directions, it basically maps out the route for the individual for a given day, and it puts it out as a new tab on this is the route I'm going to take, which I thought was, I don't think that's on the old one, but having said that, I've not used the old one in over a year, so don't quote me on that.
The other one just gave you a list.
Yeah, cool. And the sneaky Outlook appointment, it shows as read. So basically what I did was I went and created an Outlook appointment for Holly, tracked it to Dynamics, which you do have to do, although maybe a consideration is you can auto track all of their appointments if you wanted this, but yeah, it shows up on there as well. So yeah, that is scheduling. I know there was a lot to cover, but I wanted to show you some of this functionality really quickly. Bear with me. Right, is there anything else on this? I don't think so. Right, so I'm going to move on to the second item. Any questions, by the way, on scheduling? I know there was a fair bit that I've covered.
On the appointments,
Yeah.
the Outlook appointments,
You're basically saying that if an Outlook appointment makes its way into Dynamics,
Yep.
it will show on the schedule board.
Yes, but what you need to do is there's a toggle in your schedule board settings that you need to enable
Right.
for this to be displayed. But otherwise, effectively, because it's all using the tracking mechanism and all it's doing is servicing that particular user resources appointment on the board. So yeah, it's just that's the toggle you just need to set. Can't remember the name of the. It's in the settings area that you check it off.
Have you seen this going backwards to Outlook? Like if you have a work order schedule for a resource,
Yeah.
does it go to the Outlook?
No, so that's the one that's been deprecated. But you could do that using Power Automate. I think Antti,
And he's done a
he's done a
Yeah.
huge blog post on it, as well as syncing off changes as well.
Yeah.
So he's legend. He's done the legwork. You can check out his blog.
Yeah, how I've used
Okay.
these.
Yeah. So yeah, on to the next one. Customer facing portal. Oh, this was really cool, and it's new, so new is always cool. But essentially, what it is it's a Power App based portal. So if you've used portals before, all of the content will be familiar, but it is a pre-built template. So the way you enable it is you literally go to make a Power Apps search portal and select the field service portal and enable it. Now, the downside with that, it is a separate portal and it will exist separately. The only way I can think of, and I've not tried this, is because you have two separate websites, separate authentication as well, but if you had Azure-based authentication, you could probably have a single sign-on to kind of remedy that. But it is still new, and Microsoft are still releasing updates to it as well, and I'll show you some of that catalog.
What if I have already, because if we have an existing customer, we have for sure the partner template.
Yep.
So how would you do to integrate that in an existing portal that is partner template?
So at the moment, there is no easy way to integrate it. The sort of messy way would be you just do a redirect to the page and then make sure your authentication is handled at the partner portal level. And then you also have to make sure theming is consistent. But so far, in my attempts with playing with the theme, I've always broken my field service. So
because I have tried it, but I couldn't find a simple way to link the two, except redirect on the page or embedding the portal inside another one.
It's not clean. I'm not gonna lie, but it is new and it does serve a purpose, and we can see this go in the right direction basically. So if you're thinking now and maybe like 7-8 months time, it's worth looking at right away.
Is that just all web templates, or is that?
Yeah. So essentially, it is it's a separate.
It's a whole website.
So I've only played with it a little bit, and so far, like I said, I've broken them all. But they are all web templates. It's a separate portal website record, separate configuration page, a whole lot. There are some additional features as well. I think I've got one here. So what they bring with the field service portal is a couple of configuration items that you do just directly within the field service app. So it's for people who aren't used to portals. They want to make it easier to do so. I'll show you this in a second. You basically go to the configuration page and you can change all the branding, colors, logos, so on and so forth. But I've not been able to change the full layout to match what the existing portal is as of yet. But I think someone with better portal skills than me would be able to achieve that.
Liquid templates.
Yes, yeah. The other thing, in terms of use cases, what this covers is it's two main features. One is the self-service bookings, thinking back to my DPD scenario, where you basically go on the page, you may want to pick your product, but you can pick a service, pick a date, time, and then hit the book button. There's some more sort of intricacies to that, in that the new scheduling APIs that were released, that's what sort of enables all of this, because as soon as you pick your service, it then goes and says, all right, who's available on this time and date, and it brings you a list of, I think, X number of available time slots, and that's what you have rendered on here. And then the second element to this, which I think came out first, is the Track My Technician. So this is where, when the technician is en route, and that's what the configuration page drives as well, is you can say, oh, this person's en route, you know, they're making their way over, you can see how far they are, you can toggle which ones as well need to be enabled, so we'll see that in a second. Let me jump over to this one here. And funny enough, I was on an American tenant and there was a nicer portal on that one than the one I'm showing here. But I took screenshots anyways. So, right. Right, so this is my very basic field service portal. Like I said, I did break a few in doing this because I wanted to see how far you can configure it. But when you land, obviously I'm logged in at the moment, but it has scheduled my service now. There is a revision, which I'll show you in a second. But essentially, once you land on the page, you have the option to pick a product. In this case, I'll say, oh, I want my phone or internet service configured. You can turn that off if you don't think it's applicable. So you could say, in scenarios where customers just need to book a routine service like an inspection, you can just say, you know, surfing that service on this page. So I'll pick, you know, let me pick my
Jason, can you filter so only certain customers can see services?
No, no. I tried to look at it and no, you can't. No, I tried to look at it.
That's what,
Yeah. Two things that really annoy me. You can't filter the service as far as I'm aware based on the selected product, but you can turn the product selection off. You can define which services are available, and you can define which accounts may have access to the portal.
Okay.
But as far as I've seen, there isn't that level of configuration. Although maybe it could be achieved.
Does it show customer assets by any chance?
Yeah. So the service product those are customer assets basically.
Okay.
So and you can turn that off if you want. So like I said, you know, if you just want to book a regular service, you know, then you just pick the service type that you want. Yeah, so when I selected that, oh, it's already done it. It basically shows you the loading sign. It's using the scheduling APIs, doing the who's available, do they have the skills, and what's their location, I think is the third one. And you know, are they within the radius that you define? So you can define that in configuration to say only look at resources within the first like 50 miles, for example. And then it comes back with these list of available dates. I can pick a Monday, and then pick my time slot as well, and put some additional information, and then hit book. I'm hoping my phone is configured to this thingy, because then we'll be able to see some of the text messages come through as well.
Jason, the schedule API, how real time it is? Is it like pretty accurate, or is it like?
No, yeah, it is real time. So the second you pick the service, it basically makes the call. So if I let me take a moment to refresh this page, and we'll do it once more. So blank at the moment. I'll pick my thingy and I'll pick fiber installation. That is basically making the call to the scheduling APIs. So depending on what your internet connection is, it will be slower or quicker. And then, you know, pick the date, and then we can hit book.
Is it going to book a particular technician, or is it going to book a pool?
No, so it books a specific technician. I've not played with pools, but I've never found a use case that works for it. So the availability that we saw now, I've got 2 resources who are available, but they aren't available in a combination of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've got time off. But because there's an overlap, it shows them as available, because that's what the scheduling APIs are doing. And yeah, all of the sort of information there you can configure as well. I did receive a text message, but my phone isn't connected to the network, so it will be difficult for me to show that. But I've got one open here that we might be able to show.
How intelligent is the scheduling? Does it take location into account?
Yeah. So it, you know, all the usual things that you'd normally expect. So is the person working? Are they within the defined radius that I'm looking to find them? Do they have the right skills? So on the service configuration, I said they need to have a fiber installation skill. All of that still applies. So effectively, think of it like Microsoft surfing that find availability thing that was happening in the background. onto a usable API. That's what's basically happening on the hood. But I've got on, I don't know if this is going to work, but on here I've got this was the one I ran before, but I got booking confirmation previously. Now this is driven through the Track My Technician feature, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But this is the text message that you get. Will it load? So guys, let me go on to this one here. I'll click this one and let it load. But the Track My Technician, which is the second element to this, this is the configuration page that you can access, and it's available under Customer Portal. And what you can see is, when the messages you want to send, what message you want to send, you just toggle them, and it's enabled. The communication type, who it's sent to, the mode of transportation of the message as well, SMS or email. Oh wow, I'm running out of time. I think I was too frivolous with the questions. Now the SMS and email, they're flows that you need to copy and put in your API connection details, so Twilio or Outlook connectors, and then turn them on, and then they take hold. Obviously, email, it gets blocked at the moment, but the Track My Technician feature, you just need to make sure the map is enabled and your resources on the app, and then you'll see where they are. The self-scheduling, as I mentioned, the maximum, the number of available bookings you want to show, that's configurable here as well. Let me go over to this one, see if it's running. Oh yeah, I still left my technician as running, but normally what you'll see here is you'll see a map with the person traveling in real time if my phone is active, and you'll see them moving, and it polls for updates as well. And the last thing I want to show you actually is display settings. So like I said, I want to make this easy for portal configuration, and you can see all of the content snippets just listed here for you to change. So things like the company name, the logo, so on and so forth. Like I said, you might be able to modify the overarching templates, but I've not had any success with it as of yet. Right, I just want to quickly wrap up with a couple of things. The new customer-facing portals that's coming soon. This one has a nice landing page where you can view the live map of the booked ones and see the past and upcoming appointments as well as if you've tied customer voice surveys, you can send feedback as well. So that makes it a little bit better, but I'm assuming people who are skilled in portals will be able to bring all this functionality themselves over time. Other cool stuff, well, this one's not so cool. Windows 10 Field Service mobile app is basically the same app that you had on your Android or iOS, but on Windows. I tried running it on my Surface, and the camera and the voice just didn't work. So I don't know if it's still, well, it is still in preview, but still a work in progress. The other really cool one was Teams collaboration. I've got a couple of screenshots. I was on a webinar that I saw this running, but it's not available in my tenant as of yet. But essentially, you have this panel, okay, with your regular chats as you see in Teams, and they've actually done really, really well. When you're on a record, you can create a chat to this particular record, and you have that little box there. And when you click it, you have a form where you configure the fields you want to be displayed, and these will be sent as a message to the person receiving the chat. And then you say start chat, and then the person gets all of that information. They can click on view details. I think that is going to be driven through Teams licensing, but don't quote me on that one.
Sorry, that's external. Is that it?
What do you mean by
customer facing as well?
Oh, good question. Pass. No, because if you're talking to a customer, they would need to be they need to allow external communication, and you need to be able to see their presence. So it'd probably be dependent on that. But
It's more internal.
Yeah, it is more internal things, and I would assume they wouldn't be able to click on view details to view the record. That just wouldn't happen. But yeah, you can link multiple items to a work order, have multiple people chatting as well. It does look very swish, so I can't wait to try it. So that was it, guys. A few minutes over. Hopefully that gave you a quick whistle-stop tour of those two items. But if you've got any feedback, any thoughts, any questions, find me later, or put some feedback on the form. So thank you.
Thank you.